You know that the United Way is one of the best things that's happened to communities all across this country. And right here, our United Way of Central Carolinas, they've got some results on a campaign, and it's been fabulous, as it has been for years here. But to give you all the details, and we wanted you to know that this weekend because United Way makes such a difference in this community, Russell Schwartz, who is the Chief Operating Officer with United Way, is joining us. So can I go ta-ta-da-da-da-da? Congratulations, Russell.
Yes, B. We need a drum roll. It's very exciting. It's a lot of work, but we're very excited. We exceeded our goal, and through the generosity of the community, we've raised over $21.5 million, $21,544,686, which is actually $113,000 over our goal. So over the last 3 years, we've increased the campaign by 8% over that 3 years, and you know, there's so much need that it's important for the community that we continue to raise those funds so that we can, through our over 80 partner agencies, can help the folks in our five county region. And last year we touched over 325,000 people.
You know, Russell, you touched on something that I thought was very important. Sometimes people say, oh, they just increase every year. But when you're talking about the number of people and covering so many counties, this is a tremendous need. And it's not just one kind of thing. United Way covers a whole spectrum of needs of people.
You know, it's interesting. When I was speaking with our town's Habitat in Cornelius's board, and that's one of our partner agencies. Mm-hmm. Their executive director said, "Hey, we're about to start our campaign." And I said, "Oh, that's great." He said, "I encourage everyone here, because we run our own campaign. I encourage everyone at our town's Habitat to give to the Community Care Fund." And I said, "Oh, so you don't designate to your own agency?" He said, "No." I said, "Well, I think that's great." He said, "We work so hard to get people in one of our houses.
Yeah,
we don't want them to fail, and if we don't have those other agencies helping support folks, they might fail. I mean, that might mean prescription drugs that maybe Medicist could help them with, job training that Goodwill could help them with, financial planning, et cetera, et cetera." So he said, "No, we need our other partner agencies to help our folks."
Well, you make a good case for how all of these agencies are interconnected, and when someone needs assistance, they can cover the spectrum of what their specific needs are. And these agencies, they show proof in performance, don't they?
Absolutely. I mean, we're united to raise the money, but we're united to help fill the need.
Yeah.
And the money isn't just passed out. There's an application process. There's a financial certification. We want to make sure the United Way serves the donors just as they serve the agencies. We want to make sure that the money is well spent and that the agencies are financially viable. Mm-hmm. And the over 150 of our neighbors are people who sit on allocation panels and help decide how the money will be allocated. So it's not an easy process, and it is results based. We want to look at people's outcomes and try to fund those programs that are most likely to be successful.
And that also means you look at hopefully making sure there's no duplication in what you're doing, and that application process helps that. For those who are listening and say, well, doesn't that agency get money and this agency gets money? You try to make sure that the agencies and applicants who ask for these dollars are really standing up and doing what they said they were going to do.
Absolutely, and you do have to be alert to sort of mission creep. I mean, all of us want to help everyone, but you want to make sure that people are true to their mission, and I think that our partner agencies are great ambassadors for that, that all of them are sort of specialists, and crisis assistance is providing that sort of last rung on the safety net, but they're not providing housing. They are facilitating the other agencies that help provide housing through the Coalition for Housing. So all of our agencies try to work together, and that's one of the things that United Way tries to foster is convening people together for an agency, for a single problem, to see how each agency can contribute to that solution.
Talk with me a little bit about the other counties, because we know Mecklenburg County, but you said there are 5 counties that get from United Way of Central Carolinas.
Yes, Southern Iredale, the Mooresville, Lake Norman area, Cabarrus, Union. In fact, we have an office. This United Way has an office in Mooresville. We have an office in Cabarrus, and we have an office in Monroe. And then we also staff an office part of the year in Anson County.
Yeah. How is the determination made, Russell, as to which agencies you will bring in? I know that a preponderance of those agencies that now receive funds may be here in Mecklenburg County, but in the other counties where you're helping as well, is it possible for an organization that says, we do something like this, we're not overlapping, can we get some funds? How do they get to be a part of this?
Well, the agency, when I started, I mean, I've been a donor to United Way for 32 years, and I believe when I began being a donor, this United Way had 56 agencies, and it peaked at 97 agencies through mergers to help lower overall overhead and have one back office function. The United Way here in Mecklenburg merged with the United Way in Union, merged with the United Way in Southern Iredell to reduce overall operating costs. And as a result, we added agencies. But then as we looked at overlaps, as you mentioned, some of those agencies have merged. Some of those agencies have, frankly, gone out of business because their model wasn't working. So that's how we end up with about 83 agencies now. We are not taking on any new agencies at the moment. Part of the difficulty of rendering services efficiently is making sure that the agency has the capacity. So some agencies are headquartered in Mecklenburg, but they provide services throughout the region.
Okay.
And you have to have enough, in some ways, you have to have enough size to be able to have the capacity to provide the help that folks need.
Okay. Now, wanting to know about the dollars, because the numbers sound fabulous, and it's going to be able to help these more than 80 agencies. But in determining how much a corporate gives and how much an individual gives, talk with me a little bit about that. Do individual corporations say this is our goal for the year, or do you try to help them to say this is a percentage, or how do you decide how much somebody's going to give corporate wise?
Well, really the key indicator for a successful campaign is individual leadership within that company.
Okay.
It can't, when I go out and I talk to somebody about a campaign, I always emphasize it's not the United Way campaign, it's your campaign that we're going to help you with. If we come in and we're just a guest and we show up and we go and talk to the CBS radio group and say, hey, you ought to do this, that's not going to work as well as somebody from within that group standing up saying we want to help the community. So we really look to the leadership of our employers in the area, and we facilitate over 1,500 workplace campaigns, and we had some great campaigns. You know, we have some wonderful employers in the community who have been great supporters of United Way. The Bank of America, Carolinas Healthcare, Duke Energy, Wells Fargo, they're employees. And again, these are employees who made these gifts.
Yeah.
They account for over 35% of the total campaign. But I don't want your listeners to think, well, these are all some fat cat, bigwig corporate gifts. The bulk of the campaign, in fact, of our 55,000 individual donors, more than 33,000 individuals give $100 or less. So it is a broad-based, when you think about 55,000 donors, that's a lot of folks.
That is.
And it really is the magic of uniting together for a cause. Those 33,000 people put their $100 or less donation together, and we end up with over $21 million in donations.
I am so glad you put that in perspective, Russell, because a lot of folks do think, my little piece of money won't make any difference, but your little piece of money and your story. So often it's the individual who has been helped by the United Way who can help to spearhead the campaign at their workplace, isn't it?
Absolutely. It is so inspiring when I or any of us go out and work on a campaign, and you kind of give the overview, and then somebody in the audience will raise their hand, and you recognize them, and they say, I was helped by United Way. Mm-hmm. And the truth is, if you're talking to a group larger than 25 people, someone in that room or a member of their family has been helped by a United Way agency. We're not talking about people's image of who gets helped, maybe someone who's sleeping under a bridge somewhere, and of course we need to help those folks, but the vast majority of people who get helped just need a help for a temporary period of time. They've been knocked back by a medical problem, they've been out of work for a short period of time, they've had some family misfortune, they just need to help get back on the path. And it's not just about being generous, trying to help people.
Yeah.
It's actually a little bit selfish because it's what makes this community great. These folks that we're talking about helping are your listeners, are the bank's customers, are the grocery store's customers. That's part of what makes the economy work. If we're going to be a great city and a great community and a great region, everybody has to be part of it.
Which brings me to the question or comment, at least, Russell, that as a giving community, Charlotte-Mecklenburg and here in the Piedmont, we stand out across this nation as one of the most charitable and giving communities, don't we?
It really is. Now, we don't have the history that a Boston or a Philadelphia might have in terms of long-term philanthropy. We have a lot of folks. This is a very vibrant region. We're one of the top 20 growth areas in the country, I think in the top 13, actually.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of people moving in, and people want to be part of the community, and a great way to be part of the community, that's actually how I became involved in United Way. I came here in 1982, started a job, didn't know what are the best ways to help. Well, I relied on the United Way to know.
Really?
You know, I'm going to give my money to the United Way, and they're going to figure out how best to help those that need it the most. So for newcomers, it's a great way to get involved in the community and to make sure that your charitable dollars are being used efficiently to address the needs in the community.
Now, earlier, you touched on the designation for a specific agency. United Way does that. Is it better for someone to do that if there's something that's close to their heart? Or is it better to not designate specifically, but let the United Way determine these dollars should help agencies that are truly desperate right now?
Well, of course, we're all about trying to inspire folks to help. So if they are really driven to help a specific agency, then, you know, it's certainly their choice. It's their gift to designate. We think that it's better to give to the Community Care Fund to just let those panels that I referenced earlier. It's over 160 volunteers who look at the agency applications and then can allocate those funds to the programs that are the most efficient and that address the most pressing needs.
Now, with these dollars, this is for this fiscal year. When do the United Way campaigns actually start? Because I want people to start thinking in terms of not just, yay, they met a goal or they exceeded their goal, but the next thing that we need to do as a community.
Well, there are two parts to that answer. First is the next thing is the allocation process, which is getting geared up now. The agencies will have submitted all their applications by the end of February, and those will get reviewed, and we'll do our financial certification with regard to all the agencies, review their audits, review their tax returns, look at their budgets, and then our volunteer panels will begin to convene in April and May, and then a final decision on allocations will be made in June. So you're right, the money's been raised. Now we've got to figure the best way to distribute it. But then in terms of the second part, when do campaigns start? The big influx of campaigns sort of begin in August and run through November, but really campaigns run all year round. We want to facilitate what the donor wants to do. So if a company calls up and says, hey, I know I just heard Bea Thompson on the radio and I want to help, but I guess it's February, you guys are kind of done. No, if you want to do a campaign starting March 1st, great, we'll help facilitate that.
I didn't know they could do it outside of whatever the designated time is to start raising dollars.
No, the workplace is a flexible place, and we need to be flexible in response. And if it is best for your workplace to say we would love to have you all come in and talk to us, and we'd like to run a 2-week campaign in March, then we'll help you do that.
So they don't have to worry about, well, it's just me and 3 other ladies. I have a nail tech shop, and we don't have a lot of people. They can have their own little campaign as well, can't they?
They could, and if they there's just 4 people and they don't want to be distracted from their work, they can just go to our website and they can hit Give Now and they can pledge online.
Which brings us to that part that I love to call the radio altar call. Give me the number and the website, Russell.
Yeah, the website is a little cumbersome, but it's UW, as in United Way, UW Central Carolinas with an S, .org. Remember, we're a nonprofit. We're not a .com. We're a .org.
Okay.
And you can go there, UWCentralCarolinas.org, and you can click on the Give Now button or the Pledge Now button, and it'll send you right to a secure website. And if you're a small business or an individual listening at home, you don't have to be part of a workplace in order to help your community.
Great. Is there a phone number we can let them call? Because some folks are like, I don't do computers. Who do I call?
You can call our main office at 704-372-7170.
Wonderful. Russell Schwartz, I thank you, my friend, for taking the time to talk with us and getting the good news out about what the United Way of the Central Carolinas does right here in our own backyard. And for those of you who are listening, like I said, it's a radio altar call. I know it's the weekend, but at the same time, do something good as we're going into the spring. Go to the website, uwcentralcarolinas.org, or call 704-372-7170. And maybe you can be an angel unawares for an agency that needs your help. Thanks so much, Russell. We appreciate you in the United Way.
Thank you, Bea, and thanks to everybody out there.